Hello my friends and welcome back to Kev's Hobby Showcase. I'm of course Kevin. You may have also seen me on Tabletop Jones Productions where John and I are the two idiots playing board games. And today is going to be the start of pretty much a regular segment on the showcase. I'm going to be doing comic discussions. I know I've done these before. I'm going to try to do them a little bit differently now. Basically, instead of just concentrating on a particular storyline, I'm going to concentrate on a particular either character, title, or team, or whatever I decide to do, and just basically give my thoughts. Maybe even talk about do a couple of minutes on particular storylines, like my favorite ones, which I was what I'm going to do today. So today, I'm going to center on the character Spider-Man. The Spider-Man, when I was a kid and I first started reading comics, he was my first favorite hero, first favorite comic book hero, and I would say. Maybe I would say like nowadays. I mean, maybe he has to share that first spot with some others, like like particularly Wolverine of the X-Men, and maybe even Spawn, because I really was into Spawn for a long time. But he was always my first favorite hero. So I have a list of basically six stories. Some of the more recent ones. Because I didn't want to go digging too much into my boxes to try to figure out really old storylines that I enjoyed. Got to make it a little bit easy because I mean for those of you who've been watching, I mean the bandage is off, but I still don't have full use of my finger. It's still a bit swollen. So anyway, so that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to count down. I guess it's a countdown of the of my top six Spider-Man stories. I'm going to just spend a couple of minutes on each. I'm not going to talk for too long, and of course the comments will definitely be open for you to basically comment on those storylines. To maybe even mention ones that I didn't mention that you liked even more. Always up for a discussion on comics. Always, it's been a love of mine for a long, long time, and uh, I'm gonna do an honorable mention to the more recent one. Although because of my finances, I haven't been able to stay up on the more current books. So so when the so basically anything that's going to be very very recent, I haven't finished reading it yet. So it'll get an honorable mention, but not too much. And just so you know, I will have links in the description to trades for any of these stories, in case you want to check it out yourself. So please use them because I do have an affiliation status with Amazon, and it helps to support me, support the channel. If you want to get them on your own, then please like I said, use those links because it does help me out. All right, so let's get started. All right, so number six, I'm gonna basically say the Spider-Man 2099, because back in the late '90s, Marvel Comics decided to kind of jump ahead to give like I mean I'm sure it was nothing more than a marketing ploy to sell more books, but it was still very interesting. They came out with an idea to have what the Marvel Universe would look like in the year 2099, before the turn of the 21st century. So, um, so when they first came out, it was Spider-Man, of course. Then they had books for the Punisher. They had a book for Doctor Doom, Doom 2099, and then they invented a new character called Ravage. I'm sure their intention was to create books for more new characters, but generally it was just sticking with the old ones. Like they would have X-Men 2099, Ghost Rider. I think in Fantastic Four did come up, although never the Avengers. They never did the Avengers for the year 2099. So that I always found interesting. But anyway, so basically it's like it jumped ahead. It's like now a man named Miguel O'Hara is the Spider-Man, and he basically became Spider-Man through a science experiment, much like Peter Parker did. It was a bit different though. I think he drank a serum. I'll admit it's been a while since I read it, but I mean I know on trades they do have volumes for up to issue 30. I'm pretty sure it. I'm not sure. I don't remember how much longer it went past that. But I did enjoy the Spider-Man 2099 series, and they did eventually take that character and bring him into more current stories. Um, and then eventually they let him. They had him go back. I think that was after when they were doing the whole Spider-Verse storylines, and they did have Miguel O'Hara stay in the regular, in what is considered the regular timeline, and then eventually he did wind up going back to 2099. But yeah, 2099 was always. Sorry, just put my hand in that ointment I have on my finger. Sorry. So yeah, I did always enjoy the 2099 books. I do recommend anybody, to anybody who wants to read them. I do recommend them. It's a very interesting take on how the Marvel Universe would be in the future, and also how the new Spider-Man would be in the future. Because obviously, it's not all the old characters; it's new people in the roles, and I found it very interesting. So that's a good one to check out. So now, to number 5, we have the story of Spider Island, where basically people in Manhattan were turning into these spider creatures, including the heroes. But it was confined to just Manhattan, which is why they called it, I guess, Spider Island. Trying to remember exactly how it went. I believe it was just something that was airborne, and that eventually, everybody, including the Avengers, including the Fantastic Four, everybody was turning into these spider creatures. Basically, everybody, with the exception of Spider-Man and Mary Jane. And basically, it was because they were a couple, and if you catch my meaning on that one, they were married, okay, and so she was unaffected. Peter Parker, of course, was unaffected, and then of course Peter had to eventually come up with a way to change everybody back, which he did. I don't want to give everything away. So Spider Island, I did branch off into other tiny little mini series. I do know that there is a trade for the main series, which was in the Amazing Spider-Man comics. It's a bit of a fun read, especially because it's like everybody around him is like turning into all these creatures, and it took him a while to figure out what was going on, and it's like watching him get freaked out about it was a little humorous, but of course that's usually Spider-Man. Spider-Man takes all these bad situations and tries to find humor in all of them. That's what he does. So Spider Island, I know I didn't talk much about it, but Spider Island is definitely a story that I would check out if you like the character Spider-Man, and it's a fun read, like I said. And I mean, I don't know, they may have little trades for the other little series. They might be out there. I did not look. I'll admit I did not look for them. But I know. I mean, when there's a series, there's usually a trade. So that might be a good one to look out for. Okay, at number 4, I have what basically became almost everybody's favorite anti-hero, the Venom Saga. Yeah, that was. I mean, it was a long time coming because first it started with the alien costume, and Spider-Man basically slowly finding out that, or at least slowly suspecting, but didn't find out until Reed Richards told him that the costume was actually alive and it was an alien symbiote. And then, of course, when he rejected the symbiote, that it eventually bonded with Eddie Brock, becoming Venom, and since becoming Venom, of course, the symbiote's gone through Matt Gargan, who was a Scorpion. Another guy, I can't remember his name, unfortunately, who is like a low level mobster. So he they bonded with that guy, and then eventually left him, and then went back to Eddie Brock, and then for a while there went to his son, and I think now this is this part is straying into the the more current books, which I don't have. I know that the Venom symbiote is alive and well and is bonding with somebody else, but I just don't remember who. I know I have the first issue of the series. It's been a while since I've read it, so I don't remember who, but that's more current stuff. When I'm able to get myself more current on the books, I will make a video on probably most of this. So yeah, I mean the Venom Saga was something that I had always liked, and unfortunately in the movies, something they kind of tried to rush to kind of cash in on the Venom popularity. But as far as Venom itself, there are a bunch of miniseries before they came long-running series. Something good to check out. The links I left though were for basically the Saga of the Alien Costume. I know it looked like there was a couple of volumes to it. I just put in for volume 1, and then of course the trade where you first get to see Venom, which was pretty cool, especially since they kind of built up to it over like a couple of issues, like little tidbits here and there, and then right before you actually saw him, you saw like Eddie Brock, but you didn't know it was him, like pounding his fists, talking about like getting revenge on Spider-Man, and then it's like they did it in 3 frames. It's like he pounded his fist on the first one. The second one you saw like the costume start to form around his hand, and then the last one you saw it forming with the, I mean, the signature thing is the white square on the back of the hand. And that's when you're like, oh my god, that's the costume. So yeah, it's a good read. I mean, most everybody has who I know that has read books on Venom have enjoyed them. Myself included. So it's a good one to pick up if you haven't already, and just have a good read. So now what I have at number 3 is the story The Other. This was a strange one. This is when Spider-Man was a major part of the Avengers at this point, and was kind of going through something that was very very mystical in nature. He was going. I mean, one of the things is when he was also trying to deal with the that villain Morlun, who was, I mean, every time he encountered him, he always suffered like a major loss to him. And Morlun brought in that storyline where they were consuming people that were spider related. They were going like across every dimension, like every multiversal dimension of the Marvel universe, just consuming people who were spider in nature. And I mean that was part of the Spider-Verse storyline, which I don't have on my list. But it was that was pretty interesting. So what happened with The Other was it's like Spider-Man had suffered a brutal defeat, and then was brought up it was brought up like it was a special ability that real spiders have. It's like when they've suffered major injury, like almost like life-threatening injury, that they were able to kind of like shed, like they go through this like little metamorphosis where they basically heal, and then they shed the outer skin, which is the healed, which is the injured part of them, and then inside emerges a whole like a whole spider. And they said, I mean, that's what it said in the comics, at least. I never looked that up to see if it was actually true. I just thought it was pretty cool. So yeah, so that's what he actually does in this series. And so it started a little questioning thing for a while after that. Was, is that the real Peter Parker and all this stuff? But The Other was, I mean, I actually don't have the trade for that, and because I couldn't find it, but I did find it recently I did find it like the other day when I was preparing for this video. It's a trade I myself I'm going to get one of these days, so I can reread the entire story. It did branch through all the Spider-Man titles at the time. And it was, I mean, back then that's what they usually wound up doing before they ended all those titles and then just had just one. They would always do that, at times it was annoying, especially if you only wanted to collect just one series. But they pretty much utilized everything that they had. I mean, who could blame them, right? So anyway, The Other is definitely a Spider-Man story worth reading. I would recommend it. So give it a chance if you got the time and you got the funds. So at number 2, I have the Civil War. Now, Civil War, of course, was its own title, and it spanned across pretty much all of the Marvel titles, because every single hero was affected. It was the Superhuman Registration Act. So of course, in this one, I mean, I think just about everybody knows, Spider-Man had joined up with Tony Stark and was having, later he was having misgivings about the whole thing, but before that happened, Stark had convinced him to reveal his secret identity, which he did. And he almost didn't, but I believe it was his Aunt May was basically telling him that that she was like proud of him for being Spider-Man, and I think that's what finally pushed him into revealing himself, which of course then backfired when he went against Tony Stark. The one thing I will say, when this all happened with Civil War, I was really enjoying Spider-Man in the Avengers, because it gave him like a kind of like new status, and he had resources, which was nice to see for Spider-Man for a change, instead of him desperately trying to get things done and win the day, so to speak. But one thing that I will say is that it did, when the whole thing went down after, after Civil War, basically with his Aunt May getting shot. That for me was, I mean, because it got really dark and gritty for a little bit, and I was like, ooh, this is getting good. So it's because of that that I'm never really gonna like the story Brand New Day. Now I know there's probably a lot of people out there who love that story. Spider-Man getting back to what he always was. I was probably in the minority on the ones who didn't like it because to me it was like I was, I mean, Spider-Man was, like I said, it was getting like a little bit of a dark, gritty feel, and it actually felt good to see that. I mean, because like he was always like the punching bag for so long, and now he was kind of, cause like he was like he confronted Wilson Fisk in the prison, basically telling him, "I can come in here and get at you whenever I want," and I'm like, ooh, I says, all right, here we go, and then of course they had the thing with Mephisto, and then next thing you know, everything is negated, and he's back to being considered a loser. So it's like I was like I hated Brand New Day because of that. Now I have a biased opinion on it because of how I felt about everything that happened after Civil War. So don't go by me because I mean if you want to check out Brand New Day for yourself, by all means do it. But that's the reason why I didn't like that. But and because of Civil War basically. But anyway, as with the Civil War trades, it's definitely not even just the Spider-Man ones. Any of them is a good read because it shows how each and every hero is dealing with the with what was going on during Civil War, with the effects of their decisions and all that. And it was, I mean, across the Marvelverse, I'll just call it. It was a very good and in some cases like a turning point in the characters, and I'll always like it. All right, so excuse me. So before I go to the my number one favorite, I'm going to give you the one honorable mention I have, which is the recent Eight Deaths of Spider-Man. Again, I haven't finished reading it, so I don't know how it's. I'm sure by now it's concluded, and I don't know how it concluded. So I'm not going to speculate. I'm just going to say that with the little bit that I saw, with what he was doing, is like he was basically against his will, basically made into like a champion for a specific mystical force, and he was had to face like these eight gods, I think they were called, and basically, he had to die 8 times, and it was taking a very huge toll on him from the last one that I saw. He was getting into the point where he was actually ready to just give up. So again, I don't know how this all ended. I didn't get to read the entire thing. When I have read the entire thing, I will do a video on it. All right, so I just wanted to make this. But also I did notice that this is why I know that it was concluded, is because there is a trade. I do have a link for a trade. I do have a link in the description that'll lead you to a trade for this storyline. Eventually, I might get it myself. If I can't manage to get the individual issues, well, that's my problem. So anyway, honorable mention, yes, Eight Deaths. Give it a shot. You might just like it. And now number one. I don't think it's for anybody who's seen me do comic videos and that I've already done. I think that you can all guess that my number one story is going to be Kraven's Last Hunt. That's right. I mean, that's always going to be until something tops it. That's going to be my number one favorite story, because the whole bit. I mean, so it spanned through Amazing Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, Web of Spider-Man. It spanned through all three. It was a 6-part story. Probably one of the first ones. I think it was the first one that spanned through multiple titles on Spider-Man, and it'll always be one of my favorites. With Kraven, basically, taking over the Spider-Man persona to just to prove that he could be just as good as him, and then especially with what happened at the end. And if you haven't heard me talk about it before, I'm not going to mention it because I don't want to spoil anything. But it was a very, very good read. Very, at times psychedelic, and it was. I mean, like I said, to me, I mean, I could go on for like a half an hour on this, and I'm not gonna, because, I don't want to give away too much for anybody who hasn't read it and wants to read it. So I'm just gonna, stop that right there, and just know that Kraven's Last Hunt, absolutely worth the read. I mean, I purposely didn't talk too much about it because I want you to read it for yourself and experience it firsthand. So that's my reasoning on that. All right, so that's my list of my favorite Spider-Man stories. So, I mean, obviously in the comments, I would love to hear your take on any of the ones that I mentioned. Also, if there's a particular story that you really liked, even if it's Brand New Day, obviously mention it in the comments. You know, if we want to start a discussion in the comments, by all means, that's the whole reason I'm doing these videos, is so that we can talk comics. You know, but as always, keep the comments within the realms of good taste, and try not to be too harsh on anybody who has a different opinion. Because I'm going to hold myself to that. I mean, because if you mention, like, if you say you love Brand New Day, I'm going to say, cool, you know, and then we'll talk. Say, why did you like Brand New Day? Why did you like it so much? You know, stuff like that. It's like, you know, I want us to have civil conversations about comics. Because let's face it, all the inflammatory shit, there's enough of that all over the internet. We don't need that here. You know, it's nice. It's, you know, we need to, you know, include everybody, but not in a weird sort of way. You know, so yeah, you know, so let's start it. You know, let's start the comments. You know, and also, if you want to check out these stories for yourself, please, you know, use the links. It does help support me in the channel, and yeah, so it's, you know, just you know, read and enjoy. I mean, that's pretty much the whole point of comics, is to enjoy them. You know, that's really the whole point. Not to get all inflamed about them. Not to get all enraged. Not to, you know, have angry conversations. Just to have nice conversations. Say, oh, you like that? Well, why did you like it? You know, I was like, what did you like most about it? You know, stuff like that. Or you didn't like it? Well, what made you not like it? You know, stuff like that. I mean, I told you why I didn't like Brand New Day. So tell me if you liked it. Tell me why you liked it. You know, and I'll of course be very civil and you know, and understanding. Maybe I shouldn't have said that, but anyway. So anyway, obviously, you know, so please, you know, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you either one are inspired to read these comics, and two, if you know, basically comment about them, you know, and just, you know, have a good time with it, and, you know, hope, you know, please like and subscribe and share as much as possible. If you know anybody who likes comics that might enjoy watching this video and joining in on the conversation, please share it with them. Or if you know someone that would, you know, like to check out check out these comics and would have their lives made easier with the links, share it with them as well. You know, like, subscribe, and share. That's like the best way that you can support the channel. And just remember, subscriptions on YouTube are $0, so it doesn't cost you anything to, you know, to stay informed about what, you know, what I'm talking about. So next comic discussion, I'm probably going to center on the character Wolverine. Haven't fully decided yet, but that's where I'm leaning. So please join me next time. You know, with these comic book discussions, we'll talk about Wolverine. And like I said, like, subscribe, and share. I know I keep saying it, but, you know, I can't say it enough. And please go to Tabletop Jones Productions and like, subscribe, and share there as well. We do have one new video out of John and I playing Zombie Dice, so it's so we're starting to move to get more content done there, and you know, just, you know, have a great time with, you know, with these channels. Have a great time with the books, and have a great day. And I will see you again another time. Take care of yourself.